Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, coming at you with another weekly update, and today, guys, we got quite a bit to talk about, so let's get right into it. You know the usual show, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscriptions really help out, and we are nearing our ultimate goal of 20,000 subscribers, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. But please don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends and family too. It really helps out the channel. Don't forget to like and comment the video, and all the videos that you watch on here, I always read the comments and always look through them all just to see if I can reply. Also, don't forget to hit up the Teespring store. We have awesome merch that you can purchase that really helps out the channel, and consider becoming a patron at my Patreon page. Anything you can do to help out the channel and help me continue to make these videos is always appreciated. Thank you so much. Now, on to the content. So, first and foremost, I said in my previous update video that I was considering doing a response video to the "it's gonna be all white" thing that Showtime was making. And I asked you guys if y'all thought I should do it. I received a lot of mixed responses. Some of y'all said that I should because trash like that needs to be responded to. It needs to be called out and thrown under the bus for the racist garbage that it is. And absolutely, I agree. It really does need to be. But other people pointed out some other good points. And they were such things as, your channel was never political, don't bring politics into it now, it's really not worth going into, don't give it the views. Now, what I actually was going to do, I was already committed. I was going to go ahead and respond to the first episode. So I started watching the first episode and writing down notes that I could make about what kind of arguments to put in. But as I was going through it, I made it about 30 minutes in or 35 minutes in, and it just became insufferable. I couldn't do it. It was so bad that literally I was writing down notes that were making me seethe with rage. And there came a point where I realized that some of my notes were becoming very, very hostile and angry. And I realized if I can't address this from a level-headed perspective, I don't need to address it. Quite frankly, if I tried to go at it full on with everything that I had, I would probably lose my temper. There's so much wrong in it. What I may do is every now and then, I may jump in and talk about things that are said in it, or I'll reference it to talk about really stupid hot takes. But doing an entire video dedicated to just responding to it, I think I'd lose my mind doing it. And also, to answer the question, yes, I do want to try to avoid political discussions on this channel. I'm not here to talk about your stance or my stance in terms of right or left-leaning politics, liberal or conservative, Democrat or Republican, what have you. That's not my place. Most of y'all know my political leanings. Most of y'all are aware. If you know anything about me, I'm sure that I am not shy about sharing that. But I'm not here to debate anyone on that. And also, another thing, people have been saying, hey man, you talk about history. Don't politics go along with history? And I want to set the record straight. Yes, talking about history does inevitably talk about historical politics. But y'all know what I mean when I talk about the political talking points of shows like this. They're not talking about historical politics. They're talking about modern-day socio-political narratives, and that's not something I want to propagate. That's not something I want to dive into. This channel isn't going to be like some other channels out there where that's all they do. And while I can respect those channels for what they do, that's not my cup of tea. That's not something I want to be known for. That's not what I want to dive into. So for all of you people who are hoping I do this, I really am sorry. And don't worry, I'm sure at some point I will come back and address at least a few of the hot takes from the show. Like, definitely, I'm going to take a look at the bit that they did about, was Jesus white or black? And at some point, I will probably do a video talking about that. That is so terrible. Oh my goodness. And them saying that, what was that one thing they said? That Africa was the cradle of civilization. Yeah, okay, because Mesopotamia wasn't a thing. That never happened. Greece, they were just copycatting. In fact, there was one point in the movie, or episode rather, where they say that white people are trying to co-opt the race of not only Jesus, but the ancient Greeks and Romans. I was like, what? You think the Romans and Greeks as a whole were not white? I'm sorry. Throw that one by me again. It was so awful. But again, not going to do a full-on thing on that. I will occasionally address the hot takes, but that's my stance on that. All right, so now on to the other stuff. Like I said earlier, we are almost at the goal of 20,000 subscribers. I am so close. And there are some of y'all out there who are probably saying, Raven, that's not that big of a goal. There are some For Honor YouTubers and other YouTubers out there who already reached it and surpassed it. Like, just look at folks like Slanderous and them. They're already past it. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I get that. But the fact is, I never even thought I'd reach 10,000. And here I am about to double that number. just goes to show how much I didn't expect this channel to grow, and it also shows how much y'all care about this channel and how slowly but steadily I am reaching new heights. This is a huge milestone for me. I'm so excited to reach it. And in honor of it, I'm doing a Q&A session where you will actually get to see my face as I answer questions, and I will do it in front of a camera. Now, the thing that I'm debating, do I do it in a live stream or do I do it recorded? Now, if I do it in a live stream, I'm not going to answer any questions that come in on the chat because I have decided that I want to have all the questions pre-sent to me. One thing that I don't want to do, I don't want to answer a question on the chat, and while I'm answering that question, 5 or 6 other questions zoom by and I never get a chance to answer them. That's not fair to you guys. So what I want to do is I want to have my questions pre-set aside so that I can answer those and just those. So if you haven't seen it yet, I released a post not long ago, and I'll keep it up, to go there and send me your question. Please try to limit it to just one question if you can. I don't want to answer 8 or 9 questions from the same person. That's kind of silly. And also, try to read through other people's questions and make sure you're not copying other people's questions. I kind of want to answer all the my questions just once, you know? But that's something that I'm planning on doing. Hope you're looking forward to that. Now, let me go ahead and address a big elephant in the room. You're probably noticing the footage is not what you probably expected it to be. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am committing the most egregious sin of a For Honor content creator right now. I'm not playing Elden Ring. Now, hold on before you crucify me. Hear me out. It's not that I don't want to play Elden Ring. Quite the opposite. I am very excited to play Elden Ring. But I'm not someone who typically likes to play something right at its hype. What do I mean by that? When a game is hyped up to tremendous levels before it's even released, I don't like to jump right on the bandwagon, because quite often jumping on that bandwagon too early means that I'm there for all of its big problems and issues starting out the gate. Also, everyone else is playing it, so I don't know what I could bring unique for you guys. I'm willing to watch other people play it. I'm willing to look at reviews and guides, and I'm willing to see some jokes made about it. Right now, I'm just kind of waiting to get into it. Plus, I don't have a lot of money to throw around right now. I'm still working hard to make money so that I can purchase new games. I'm not rolling in the dough, guys. I make a very, very minimal income, so that's why I encourage you guys to help donate and support the channel so that I can afford to purchase games when I want to. I'll probably give it a month, maybe 2, and then I will get Elden Ring and I will talk about it. But here's the thing. Most people have already told me, Elden Ring is basically a newer version of Dark Souls. And Dark Souls was never really my game to begin with. I was never a huge fan of Dark Souls to begin with, so I don't know. People are saying that it's going to be the new For Honor 2. It's the new For Honor. It's For Honor, but better. Yeah, maybe. I don't think so. For Honor's still going to hold a special place in my heart regardless. So I'm sorry if y'all are expecting me to do a lot of Elden Ring content. I will probably do some in the future. But for now, I'm just going to let other people enjoy it for the time being. And then, as per usual for me, I'll be a little late to the game. But hey, sometimes I can be a little late and still have interesting stuff to talk about. But speaking of content, what can you expect from the channel going forward? Well, For Honor, as we've just seen, has kind of hit a slower point, which is why so many people are willing to jump to Elden Ring. And yeah, I'm not going to release as much For Honor content for just a little bit. I'll release, of course, a Heroes in History here and there, or a Legends video, but what else? Well, I want to release more writing and storytelling content. I want to do more Raven's Writings Rooms. I want to do more of my live readings. I want to do more readings for like Troy and Frost and the Revenant King and stuff like that. I want to continue doing those things. I want to talk more about writing styles, writing tropes. I want to do some response videos to folks like Overly Sarcastic Productions, Extra Credits, and some others who I think have some pretty odd takes on storytelling and narratives. We'll do more of that. I'm really excited to talk more about writing and storytelling, which y'all have told me y'all want me to do more of, so hey, if that's what y'all want me to do more of, I want to do more of it, so let's work together here on that. Also, we are returning the DBD analysis series. That's right. Some people have pointed out, hey, Raven, what happened to the Dead by Daylight analysis series? Aren't you going to do more of that? And you're right. I did put it aside for a while after October, didn't I? So we're coming back to that. I'm going to start that up again. But one thing that I want to do is I don't want to do it strictly in order. I kind of want to do the heroes, well, killers and survivors at the rate and pace I want to do them. so that way I can do the ones I enjoy so I have more motivation to do it. We'll see how that works, but I am coming back to the Dead by Daylight analysis series for those of y'all who enjoyed it. Also, the Prince of Egypt analysis part 3 will be released this week. I'm actually almost done with the editing. I hope to release it either later today, Monday, or Tuesday. Those are my ideal dates, but we'll see. So, as we wrap today's update video up, a couple things that I want to ask. First of all, is Troy and Frost, the story that I've been reading, meaningful to y'all? And what I mean is this: it is easily my most least viewed, and as some have said, underappreciated works that I put up here. But I am very dedicated to it. Now, let me be clear. If y'all are not fans of Troy and Frost, I completely understand. I'm not asking you to be. I just asked because I'm still going to release it whether y'all like it or not. Only because my buddy Jay, who created James Troy and asked me to write the story, is a huge fan of this story, and I am thrilled to be able to read this out for his sake and for my own sake to practice my voice acting skills. So I just wanted to know if y'all like Troy and Frost, if that's something y'all enjoy. My second question, do y'all enjoy my readings? Like I do my readings for the Legend series, Troy and Frost, The Revenant King. I did it for my Primarch Naja Aldmera. Do y'all enjoy me doing these readings? If so, why? If not, why not? I just am curious. I want to know what y'all like about them and whatnot. Because if y'all do enjoy them, I'll do more of them. If y'all don't enjoy them, I'll try to break them. I'll try to pull them back a little bit. Okay, guys. So to wrap things up, normally at this point I would do a story sharing time, but I don't really have a story to share right now. Not a new one anyway. So instead, I'll do a Ravens rant. And today, first of all, what a Ravens rant is essentially just me ranting about something that's been on my mind for a while, something that I feel strongly about, and share with you guys. I'll try to keep it brief, but I did it last time, and I'll do it this time. So, what do I want to rant about today? Well, today I was thinking about something. I was at work today, and this is a true story. This is something that really happened, you know. It kind of surprised me. I saw this little kid, right, like maybe about 7 or 8 years old, and he didn't get what he wanted. I didn't overhear what it was he wanted. I wasn't paying that much attention, but I did pay attention when he threw himself on the ground, beating his fist and screaming at the top of his lungs. I guarantee you, every eye in the restaurant was on this kid. And what was, except for two, there were 2 sets of eyes that were not on this kid. Mom and dad's. They were not even looking at him. They were just trying their hardest to ignore him. And it struck me then, my parents would not have ignored me. Now, they wouldn't have coddled me either. My mom would have stared daggers at me and told me to get back in my seat and shut up, or I would regret it. And then if I refused at that point, Dad would have dragged me out, and the next sound you would have heard was a belt-clearing belt loop and tanning my hide. Now, am I saying that corporal punishment is the correct response to any child acting out? No. But I think what is required is careful discipline for your children. Careful discipline in general. I think that one of the biggest problems I've seen in today's youth, especially when I was a teacher, was no one disciplines their kid anymore. No one gives proper punishment to misbehavior. Literally, when I was teaching seniors in high school, most of my students acted out and dared me to bring down authority, bring down discipline on them. One girl straight up told me when I sent her to the office, "Do what you want, teach. I'll graduate anyway." And she was right. I couldn't do anything. They weren't going to expel her. They weren't going to do anything worse to her than give her a nice slap on the wrist. And that's what a lot of the school system does now. Can you believe there was a time where schools could actually spank children? God, personal opinion here. You can disagree. Bring those days back. Bring those days back, because I guarantee you kids are going to think twice about acting up if they know there's a legit painful punishment waiting for it. Because, guys, that's reality. And people who say, oh, that's cruel and unusual punishment. Cruel and unusual, as the Bible says it, in the Bible, spare the rod, spoil the child. Sometimes to save a child from themselves, you have to give them a good wallop on the backside, you know? Or at least something to make them realize that their behavior is not a good thing. I sat down with my dad once and I talked to him because I want to be a father one day. And so I was asking my dad, what's a good fatherly practice? Like, I remember you used to give me and my brother spankings when we misbehaved. What was the rule? What was the kind of threadbare thing that had to come first before you did that? He said, well, the way you do it is this. And I like what he said. He said, the way you do it is this. You make sure that the rules are taught. If you break a rule but don't know the rule yet, then it's fine. Just correct the behavior. For example, I didn't know what the F word was. I did not know what the F word was. One day, I saw that word written in a bathroom at a restaurant, and I asked my dad what it meant. And my dad told me, "You're never to say that word." Well, obviously, I was going to be a little rebellious, so I decided, why shouldn't I say that? And then I said it. Dad gave me a look, and he said, "I told you not to say that." And I said, "Well, Dad, I just want to know what that means." And I said it again. Dad turned me around and swatted me on the backside. Why? Because I broke the rule and I knew the rules. And Dad explained, that's called deliberate disobedience. When you commit deliberate disobedience, that means that you know it's wrong and you do it anyway. And that requires punishment. That requires severe punishment, because that means that you are being rebellious. You know, people sometimes ask me, what's the difference? What is the definition of sin? Sin is deliberate disobedience. It is willful disobedience against God. It is basically saying, I know what I should do, I'm not going to do it. I know it's wrong, I'm going to do it anyway. And you can make any kind of excuse you want as to why you do it. That's regardless of the point. You know the rule, you've been taught the rule, you don't do it anyway. And I think a lot of kids, and adults too, have gone through life without anyone ever saying no. Without anyone ever saying, you can't do that. And then when consequences do come, they're stunned. Like, why did that happen? That's never happened to me. I think that's what creates such a divide between teachers and students. This is a true story that Lark told me about his experiences at school. He had an incident with a child who wanted to go to the bathroom, but they'd already had their bathroom break. He knew she was just going there to use her phone and just screw around, you know? So he said, "No, you're not going." And when she said, "But it's an emergency," he goes, "Then suffer in silence." She'd never had that done to her. She had to go home and complain to Mama, and Mama had to send a very, very offensive email to Lark calling him, what was it? Saying that his male brain must be deficient. His deficient male brain, I think was the phrasing. Yeah, she was a bit of a Karen and a feminist, just saying. But the point is, this is a child whose parents have never told her no. This is a child whose parents have never disciplined this girl, because she feels like she can go where she wants, when she wants, and if she doesn't get her way, Mama's going to come to her defense. That is not the way you raise a child. Now, am I saying that a parent should never come to their child's defense? Absolutely not. But when a child breaks the rule and knows they're breaking the rule, when a child does wrong, I think discipline is absolutely warranted. Now, should it be a spanking? I don't know. I'm not your parent. I'm not the one raising anybody. Okay, I'm not a father yet. So I don't know. But in my opinion, when I was growing up, I hated spankings. But now that I'm older, I'm glad I got them, because they made me better. I now recognize that I was a nincompoop. I was a doofus. I was a class A Nimrod. You know, I realize now that the reason why my parents did what they did and disciplined me the way they did was because they loved me so much. They said, we don't want you to be making these mistakes in the future, so we are going to train you not to do it. It's the same reason you shove your dog's nose in the poop when they poop in the house. You don't do that, you know? I don't know why this is such a frightening concept to some people. I guess it's the idea of, oh, it's child abuse. No, let me tell you what child abuse is. Child abuse is striking your child for no reason. That's the difference. If you just decide you're having a bad day so you want to strike your child, that's child abuse. If the child has done absolutely nothing wrong to you or anyone else and you strike that child, that's child abuse. When you don't explain why you have struck your child, that's child abuse. But my father always explained. In fact, it was kind of frightening what he would do. If I knew I was in trouble, he'd send me to my room to wait for him. He'd go up, sit with me on the bed and say, "Do you know what you did wrong?" And if I say nope, he said, let's talk it out. And he'd explain what I did wrong. But usually I knew exactly what I did wrong, and I'd go, yeah, I did this. And he'd go, okay, I'm glad we have an understanding. How many swats do you think you need? I better give an accurate answer. If the answer was 1, he'd go, I'm adding another one for lying. And I'd go, oh, damn. Dad would never pull that line of this hurts me more than it hurts you. No, he said, no, this is going to hurt you because you're going to learn something from it. I genuinely think that my father made the best decision with me and my brother. When we acted up, we got what we deserved. Now, before you ask the question, who was spanked more, Lark or me? It was definitely me, because I was the older brother. I made the mistakes, and Lark learned from mine. So that's how that worked. I was dumb. I was a dumb kid growing up, but that's why I needed that discipline. I think a lot of us out there, I'm not judging you, I'm just saying a lot of people out there grow up dumb. We grow up making very dumb decisions, selfish decisions, foolish choices, and that's why we need a disciplinary power there, be it a parent, be it a teacher, be it an authority figure, be it a master, someone who gives us the discipline that helps us grow and become better. But now we don't do discipline anymore. Oh, it's cruel and unusual punishment. We shouldn't do that to people. It's wrong. It's wrong to the kid. It makes them afraid of the parent. That's the one I love, when people say, it makes them afraid of the parent. It makes them afraid of the... No, it doesn't make them afraid of the parent. I was never afraid of my father or mother. I was afraid of the spanking, but I wasn't afraid of mom or dad. Never. I was never afraid of them. I was afraid of the consequences, and that is healthy. If I'm speeding on the highway, I don't slow down because I'm afraid of the cop. I slow down because I'm afraid of getting a ticket. The reason I don't steal or break the law is not because I'm afraid of the police officer or the judge. It's because I'm afraid of going to jail. Okay, I'm afraid of the consequences of my actions, not the people who dish out the consequences. Because in the real world, guess what? There are consequences for your actions. If I talk back to my parents and they don't discipline me, what happens when I'm in my job and I talk back to my boss? Do I just assume he won't do anything about it? That's what I think is so wrong here. The kid who acts up in my class and disrespects me in front of all of his peers, I know he probably acts that way around his parents. And they don't do anything about it. Because when I do something about it, they are just stunned like, what? How could you do that to me? Take a guess, genius, because there's going to come a day where your boss or your coworkers or the people in higher authority positions than you are going to say, no, we won't stand for your disrespect. And you'll wish to God that someone had taken a belt to your backside first. That's what I'm so glad about. I've learned respect because of those instances. So I know that this is a really weird rant to think about, but it's just when I saw that kid acting up in the restaurant today, when I see kids just disrespect their teachers and their parents and their grandparents, like treat them like crap, I go, where's the spanking? Where's the discipline? I don't see it anymore, and I think that's so sad. I think that's why some of our kids are growing up awful, because they just don't have any form of discipline in their lives. And another thing that annoys me, and I know that I've gone on too long, I'll wrap it up after this. Another thing that annoys me, I hate if there's one kind of parenting that annoys the crap out of me, and again, I'm not a parent, so I guess you can take this with a grain of salt, but I cannot stand the friend parent. The parent who says, oh, me and my daughter, me and my son, we're just best friends. Look, have a great relationship with your kid. I have no problem with that. I have a great relationship with my mom and dad. But for the love of Pete, they're not your friend. They're an authority figure too. You know, that's the thing. I can't sit around and go buddy with my mom and dad about things. I have to recognize there is a divide there. There is a slight wall there. I can't talk to my mom and dad the same way I talk to my best friend. There's a slight difference. If my mom and dad are just my friend and no form of authority figure, then who is my first form of authority and how do I know how to treat them? I would assume my school teacher, but there are limits to what the school teacher can do in terms of discipline and authority. I don't know. I think that's such a poor way to parent. I'm not saying you can't be friendly with your children. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying a parent who doesn't recognize the authority and position they have, I'm sorry, I think you're missing something. That's why I'm always proud of the parent, like when I'm waiting on a table and the kid acts up and the father or mother just gives them a look that says, no, you cut that out. That I can appreciate, especially when the kid responds the way they should, like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. That's a well-raised kid right there. And the good news is I'm seeing that more and more. I've been very impressed how many kids I've seen in the restaurant who show respect to not only me but to their parents. I think the problem now is if we can get rid of those stupid phones and iPads that show those ridiculous cartoons that kids watch at the table while you know, my parents never let me do that. My parents said, you know what, dining time is social time. We're having family bonding time. We're talking together. You don't need your electronics at the table. Again, that sounds harsh. No, it trained me. It taught me how to live. It taught me respect. I have no problem with that. When I have kids, I hope that I'm half the parent my parents were. And I think Lark pretty much feels the same way. But anyway, that's going to wrap things up today, guys. Again, don't forget to subscribe, leave your questions on the post. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed me ranting at you for about 15 minutes. And I will see you in my next video. Take care.